Ted Bundy?
I've never spoken to anybody about this.
Welcome to Crime Collapse. Today we'll be talking about the shocking secrets Bundy revealed in his last days. So let's get into it. Ted Bundy was born on November 24, 1946 in a home for unmarried mothers in Burlington, Vermont. His mother was Eleanor Louise Cowell, and his biological father's identity was uncertain. Louise once mentioned a war veteran, Jack Worthington, who had left her during her pregnancy. Some family members suspected that Ted's grandfather might have been his father, but DNA testing later disproved this. As a baby, Ted lived with his grandparents, Samuel and Eleanor Cowell, in Philadelphia. For his first 3 years, they raised him as their own son, hiding the fact that he was born out of wedlock. Ted was told that his grandparents were his parents, and that his real mother was his older sister. He later discovered the truth through various means, including searching for his birth certificate, and he blamed his mother for letting him find out on his own. Samuel Cowell was described differently by family members over time. Ted sometimes spoke fondly of him, but later accounts depicted Samuel as violent, cruel, and racist, allegedly mistreating animals and family members. Eleanor, Ted's grandmother, was portrayed as quiet and depressed, though some relatives contested these accounts, suggesting exaggeration to explain Ted's later crimes. In 1950, Louise moved to Tacoma, Washington, changing her last name and taking Ted with her. She married Johnny Bundy in 1951, who adopted Ted, and they had 4 more children. Ted kept his distance from Johnny, criticizing him for not being his real father. From a young age, Ted displayed troubling behavior. At age 3, he was found placing knives around his aunt while smiling. Neighbors recalled acts of cruelty, including hanging and burning a stray cat, scaring children in the woods, and constructing dangerous traps. Ted's story of his childhood varied. He admitted to searching for names of naked women and reading violent crime material, though he later contradicted these claims. He also fantasized about women and imagined himself as important figures he heard about on the radio. Socially, Ted claimed he was isolated in school, avoiding parties and struggling with friendships. Though some classmates remember him as well-liked, he enjoyed skiing, occasionally stealing equipment to do so, and had brushes with the law for burglary and car theft, with records later expunged. After high school in 1965, Ted attended the University of Puget Sound for 1 year, then transferred to the University of Washington to study Chinese. He began dating Diana Edwards, whom he claimed to love deeply. By 1968, Ted left college and worked low-paying jobs, while volunteering for Nelson Rockefeller's presidential campaign, and later serving as a driver and bodyguard for political candidate Arthur Fletcher. Diana moved to San Francisco after graduating, and their breakup deeply affected Ted. Ted traveled across the country, briefly attending Temple University, and began reading violent pornography material while dwelling on the breakup. Returning to Washington in 1969, he began a long relationship with Elizabeth Klopfer, a single mother, and became a father figure to her young daughter, Molly. Later, Molly described instances of Ted being violent or sexual toward her. Ted returned to the University of Washington in 1970 to study psychology. His demeanor changed. He became focused, ambitious, and respected by professors, working at the Suicide Hotline Crisis Center where he met Anne Rule. He graduated in 1972 and worked on political campaigns, including for Governor Daniel Evans. Ted gained positions of trust, helping write crime prevention material and tracking political opponents, further cementing his reputation as intelligent and capable. By 1973, Ted entered law school at UPS and the University of Utah, aided by strong recommendation letters despite mediocre test scores. He resumed his relationship with Diana while seeing Elizabeth, hiding each relationship from the other. By January 1974, he abruptly ended things with Diana, who later believed Ted orchestrated the relationship to prove he could break her heart. Around this time, Ted stopped attending law classes. The timeline of Ted Bundy's first murders is unclear, as he gave conflicting accounts. He told some people he attempted his first kidnapping in 1969 in New Jersey, but he didn't kill anyone. To others, he claimed he murdered 2 women in Atlantic City that year. Later, confessions to Detective Robert Capel suggested killings in Seattle in 1972 and 1973. True crime writers and investigators believe he might have begun killing as a teenager. Bundy's first confirmed murders occurred in 1974 when he was 27. By then, he had learned to avoid leaving evidence, taking advantage of the pre-DNA era.
Tell me how you encountered Ted Bundy.
It was October of 1974. I was a pharmacy student at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. I was at a city park waiting for a bus to take me back up to campus. The bus was late. I was getting frustrated. And then this tan Volkswagen drove by very slowly. Cute driver kind of looked at me as he went past, and then he stopped and backed up and leaned over and rolled down the passenger window and asked me where I was going. I told him I was going up to the U, and he said, "Me too, hop in." So I opened the door and got in. The first thing that I noticed was the inside passenger door handle was missing, and he leaned over and pulled the door shut. But I wasn't alarmed. I figured college kid, college car, things fall off.
How does he look to you at the time?
He looked like a college student. He was dressed nice, had a green pullover sweater on, nice slacks.
Victims in Washington and Oregon included university students such as Karen Sparks, who survived a brutal attack, and Linda Ann Healy, Donna Mansion, Susan Rockhorn, Robert Parks, Brenda Ball, and Georgian Hawkins. He used deceptive tactics such as asking for help with his arms in a sling, gaining women's trust, and abducting them. Bundy also worked in crime prevention, ironically helping search for missing women while continuing to kill. In July 1974, Bundy struck at Lake Sammamish State Park, luring Janice and Denise with the same method. Increased media attention and witness descriptions eventually connected his crimes. Some remains were found near Issaquah and Taylor Mountain, areas Bundy frequented. By late 1974, Bundy attended law school in Utah, continuing his pattern of abduction and assaults in Salt Lake City, Colorado, and Idaho. Some victims escaped, proving crucial evidence. Detectives began narrowing suspects using computers and tips, and Bundy's name emerged repeatedly. In August 1975, Bundy's criminal activities drew direct police attention when Officer Bob Hayward noticed his Volkswagen Beetle moving suspiciously in Salt Lake City. Bundy fled but was later stopped, marking the beginning of serious law enforcement pursuit. Police found Ted Bundy's car with the front passenger seat removed and placed in the back. Inside were a ski mask, a Pentail mask, a crowbar, handcuffs, trash bags, rope, and an ice pick. Bundy claimed these were normal items, with innocent explanations. Initially uncertain, detectives recalled a previous kidnapping case matching a description, and a woman had earlier named him as suspicious. Police searched Bundy's apartment and found a Colorado ski resort guide marked where a woman had gone missing, and a high school brochure connected to another disappearance. Lacking enough evidence, he was released. Bundy later admitted to destroying hidden Polaroids in the apartment. Bundy was placed under 24-hour surveillance. His girlfriend Elizabeth Cloper revealed he had stolen items like crutches, plasters, women's clothes, surgical gloves, and a knife, and displayed controlling, threatening behavior toward her. Detectives confirmed he had no alibis during several disappearances.
Bundy was brought into court this morning.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Here.
He had lost about 15 pounds. His body was scratched. He injured his knee while mountain climbing. He was exhausted, disoriented. Judge George Lohr advised him of additional charges: escape, second-degree burglary, misdemeanor theft, and a felony theft. If convicted of these charges alone, Bundy could spend 90 years in prison. Bundy gazed around the room as the judge spoke to him. Officers say Bundy was very talkative this morning when apprehended. He told all about his escape. Police say after he fled the courtroom last Tuesday, Bundy headed for the hills southwest of Aspen.
After Bundy sold his Volkswagen Beetle, police found hair from 3 victims. An FBI expert stated it was nearly impossible for this to happen by accident, and other witnesses tied him to a high school disappearance. He was charged with kidnapping and attempted assault. Detectives across states collaborated, suspecting him of multiple murders but needing more proof. In February 1976, Bundy went to trial for the raunch kidnapping, choosing to face only the judge due to media attention. After 4 days, he was found guilty and sentenced to 1 to 15 years in jail. Later that year, he was caught with an escape kit in the prison yard and punished with solitary confinement. He was moved to Colorado for another murder case. In June 1977, Bundy escaped from the Garfield County Jail in Aspen during a courthouse hearing. Acting as his own lawyer, he moved unshackled, hid behind a bookshelf, and climbed out a window. He wandered in the woods, stole food, clothing, and a gun, and after 6 days, he was caught again, driving a stolen car in Aspen with maps that linked him to crime scenes. Bundy continued plotting escapes, eventually slipping out of jail on December 30th, 1977, using the ceiling and access to the chief jailer's apartment. He traveled via stolen cars and buses, eventually reaching Tallahassee, Florida, where he stayed under a false name near Florida State University. On January 15, 1978, Bundy attacked 4 women at the Chi Omega sorority house, in where he killed 2. He also attacked another student nearby, leaving her badly injured. Weeks later, 12-year-old Kimberly Leach disappeared from her school and was later found murdered. On February 15, 1978, Bundy was arrested in Pensacola in a stolen car carrying IDs, credit cards, and other stolen items. In May 1978, a grand jury charged him for the Chi Omega attacks. His trial in Miami was nationally televised. Despite 5 lawyers, Bundy acted as his own attorney, rejecting plea deals that could have spared him 75 years in prison. Key evidence included eyewitnesses' testimony, forensic bite mark analysis, and his previous kidnapping of Carol DeRonch. After less than 7 hours of deliberation, the jury found him guilty of murder, assault, and burglary. He was sentenced to death. Bundy faced a second trial in Orlando for Kimberly Leach's murder. During sentencing, he married Carol Ann Boone in court. Boone later gave birth to Bundy's daughter, Rose, allegedly to bribe prison visits. During appeals, Bundy spoke with writers and FBI agents about his crimes, describing his progression from theft to murder. He admitted revisiting bodies, mutilating victims, and keeping some remains in his apartment. Despite multiple delays, Bundy's execution was set for January 24, 1989. He refused a last meal and was executed by electrical chair at 7:16 a.m., asking loved ones to be informed. Crowds outside cheered, and his ashes were scattered in Washington Cascade Range. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching Crime Collapse. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this one. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.